Hey everybody, this is S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Thomas Show, and my guest this time, Mr. Steve Bryant, 15-year host on QVC, where he holds sales records, by the way, author, radio personality, musician, songwriter. That's right, all of these things into one human body. Amazing. He only has one head, two arms, and two legs, or so I think, because that much stuff in one guy, I don't believe it. But he's a great guest on the show. Yeah, you believe me, don't you? I mean, I haven't failed you yet, have I? I haven't brought on someone that you didn't love yet, have I? And I didn't this time either. Are you ready? Because I believe you're going to enjoy it. Are you ready? Of course you are. Let's do it. Okay, everybody. Now, on this particular program, on this show, everybody, I told you before, what I tend to have on this show are the people I like the most, the people I find the most interesting. Have I failed you yet? No. And guess what? I'm not going to fail you this time either. This is a very, very interesting man, a friend of mine. I think he's had 16 lifetimes worth of experience in his life. Okay, maybe 14. 14 lifetimes of experience in his life. And one of my favorite people, one of the people I enjoy talking to the most. And I'm glad to have him on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, good friend of mine, a very talented man, Mr. Steve Bryant.
S. Anthony, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You know, it's really weird because I remember when we met in Philadelphia, and I think it was the Spaghetti Warehouse, I believe.
Yes, it was. Absolutely. The tribute, the roast of Glenn Hurricane Schwartz.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I did I haven't done a roast in a long time, and it's really weird because I didn't know it was going to be a roast. No one told me. They say, hey, just come do a show. And I'm like, okay. I show up and they're going, so you ready to roast? I'm going, no one told me. What the? Yeah, all right. And so, but one of the things that was best about it was when I met you. You were interesting to me in many, many ways, obviously, because you've done a lot of things, even up to that point, which was maybe a decade and change ago. But you were one of the people that when you told me the many things you had done in your career and your life up until that point, all of these fascinating things, I knew you weren't lying.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, you know what it's like in the business when you're in the business and someone tells you that, I invented hearts. You mean heart surgery? No, I invented actual hearts.
I was going to say, you bought that thing about me having an affair with the Rockettes? Cool. Who knew?
Hey, man, that was my second book, Steve Bryant and the Rockettes. Now, you
okay.
When I saw the things that you had done, that I knew you had done, and I never got an opportunity to do what I really wanted to do, because one of my joys was talking to comics, entertainers, people that have done things. One of the things I find the most fascinating and the most interesting is the origin story. Because there had to have been a reason you chose to do the things you do. Hosting on QVC for a long time, Food Network, infomercials, music. I want to know why, what pushed you there to entertain people?
It's not I'm trying to make it as happy a story as possible. It's a little difficult. I was in college as a music major, and I met the absolute love of my life. She had a PhD in music education and what's called a performer's certificate in voice, which is the PhD equivalent in performance. There are no PhDs in performance, so they give you what's called a performer's certificate. She has a beautiful coloratura soprano voice, and everything. We hit it off. We met. We married. I'd say 3 or 4 months after we met, which was just that perfect. A few months later, she was pregnant with our first child, and things were going pretty well for me in college. I caught getting published a lot of articles about music and different ideas that I had, different thoughts. And some of the compositions I had done had won contests. New York Philharmonic played one of my things, and I got to conduct them, and I didn't make a complete fool of myself, so I considered that a win. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things are going well, and a university in Maryland actually heard of me, and they brought me down, and I came down with my wife, and they met with me and said, "We want to give you a place to live. We want to give you you'll get your PhD with us for free. Yeah. You'll also be an adjunct instructor. We're not going to pay you a lot, but we'll pay you something as an adjunct instructor so you can live. You'll have a free place to live. All you have to do is give us 5 years. As the first 2 years will be as an assistant professor, and then if you don't mess up, then for the next 3 years you'll be a professor. And at that point you'll have tenure, and you can choose to remain with us or move along in your life, whatever you want to do." It was like this sweetheart deal. Mm-hmm. And the place they had for us to live was just beautiful. It was the campus housing with the faculty, but it was right on the water. It was gorgeous. Oh, it was just, everything was great. Carol was about 7 months pregnant. We went home, and she said, "Well, you're going to take this deal." I said, "Yeah, I am." And I said, "If that's good with you," I said, "let's do it." And a couple of weeks later, a bus full of very drunk people ran a red light and killed her. And, well, I couldn't really go back to school. I tried, and I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't do anything. So I said, "Well, what the heck can I do?" And I did that for a while. And when you do that for a while, all of a sudden you forget, oh, wait a minute, I forget I have to earn money so I can eat. So I was a couple of clicks away from being homeless. I said, what the hell can I do? I saw an ad for an audio producer, and as a music major, I had done a lot of recording in the university and what have you. And I said, well, I'll be an audio producer. So ad agency in Philadelphia hires me as an audio producer. They got really backed up, and they said, we're really backed up. Can you write? And I said, well, yeah, I can. They said, well, could you write a couple of scripts for us, a couple of commercials? And I said, sure. So that worked out pretty well. I became a writer-producer, and the company split. Half of it went to Atlanta. I went with the half that went to Atlanta, and I became their creative director. And for 8 years, we owned Atlanta. We were the upstart boys from the north coming down, and we were moving like lightning. We could do things. We could do amazing things, mm-hmm. and we did. We did everything from the official city song of Atlanta to driving Mayor Young home in a blinding snowstorm, which normally it would have taken me a half an hour to do that. It took almost 6 hours to get through the snow and the muck and the mire. But it was an incredible job. 8 years. After 8 years, I said, this is a long time to do one thing. And I had taken up magic as a hobby. So I knew a lot about our clients, AT&T and Southern Bell, and then South Central Bell, which later merged with Southern Bell. So I said, okay, I'll become a trade show magician, which I did. I did that for 2 years. Make a lot of money as a trade show magician, but you're always traveling. Always, a couple of nights in this city, a couple of nights in the next city, and what have you. So I did that for 2 years, and then I see an ad for QVC that says, brand new type of TV. It's a talk show. It's a game show. It's a set, and I thought, this is wacky. I ought to audition for this. So I went into the audition armed with every vanishing device known to modern magic. And they handed me a gold chain, and I said, well, if I were you, I would dial in the audition videos. If I were, I'd dial in for this gold chain right now, because if you don't, it's going to be gone. And it disappeared. And I used what's called a TV-proof method of vanishing, which means it moves better than it vanished in less than a 24th of a second. So one frame of the video, it's there. The next frame, it's gone. It's gone. And they said, hey, can you do that on a regular basis? And, I'm an idiot. I said, sure. Well, for 2 years, I was their magic host. Oh, talk about pressure. Magic on live national TV, thinking, all I have to do is drop this damn ball, and I look like an idiot. And thankfully, after 2 years, the magic thing kind of wore off, and I started studying sales and everything from my advertising background, and became just a regular host for my remaining 13 years there, and moved on from there. Retired from QVC, went to Scripps Networks. I was their executive vice president of talent and programming, and especially for their Shop at Home network, a shopping network they had out of Nashville. And you might remember these. These are the people with Don West. You know, if you don't buy this rookie card now, you're crazy. Buy it today for $20, sell it tomorrow $5,000. You know,
and also the mini copies, and also the mini local copies of that.
So I absolutely, I went in, I got rid of all those people, and we started to do it respectably. Come to find out, the only reason Scripps hired me is that they wanted the network to become respectable so they could sell it.
No, geez.
So, it worked out kind of well, because after 2 years, we signed another contract. It was a 5-year no-cut contract. And after that 5-year no-cut contract, everyth's going well. And, you know, the company was sold, and the new company wanted to go back to, if you don't buy this rookie card, wanted to go back to the thrilling days of yesteryear. And I said, no way in hell am I doing this. No, I quit. And my contract was such that because I quit, they had to pay me for the next 5 years. So that worked out pretty well. Executive vice president salary wise. So the bottom line there was they tried to keep me. They said, obviously, you know, I said, we want to show you something. I said, really? Okay. You know, I thought, okay, maybe this is a stripper. Could be worth my while. And they wheel in this table that has 20 swords on it. And I look at these 20 swords and I go, yeah, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to cut me. I'm a dead man. And they said, we can sell these 20 swords for under $100. And I said, 20 swords for under $100? Is there a dragon epidemic I don't know anything about? And they said, well, obviously you don't share our vision. And that was it. And then the next 5 years, I did some talk radio. I did a live talk radio show in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, from my home in Nashville. And I had a home studio, so I did that from there. Did song parodies it was really funny. I was doing song parodies for a radio show, and somebody who worked for Fox News heard one of the parodies and said, hey, could you do parodies for us? And I thought, well, okay, because I'm not really a conservative. And then and he heard a parody. I did a parody of Sympathy for the Devil about Barack Obama, and it was like that he never uses his middle name. You know, pleased to meet you, but don't use my middle name. You know, and so they thought I was a conservative. Well, at the same time, I had done a song parody about John McCain to the tune of Penny Lane. You know, John McCain likes to pretend he's a conservative, but he doesn't really follow party lines. He helped increase the broadcasters' fines, and his head sure shines. Yeah. So CNN says, hey, could you do some song parodies for us? So CNN thinks I'm a liberal, and Fox thinks I'm a conservative, and I'm really a moderate, I guess. I don't know why. You know.
Now that's flexibility, my friend.
Well, there you have it. I mean, I voted for President Obama twice, you know, both times, but you know, I wish he had been a little less to the liberal side, but he was wonderful. So I just, you know, you gotta take what you got in front of you there. And haven't really. I've voted for president since President Obama, but I haven't really been happy about it because when I voted for Barack Obama, I thought, you know, this guy gets it. I'm not in tune with everything he says, but then he's not in tune with everything I say. So I think that's a parody there. And, you know, it's a good thing. And so, but I haven't been able to say that about anybody since. You know, it's like, no, this person's an idiot. That person's an idiot. This person's a moron. This person's going to get us all killed. No, I just, you know, so anyway.
It's hard latching on to a politician anyway, because, you know, the system that they work in, it's like, you know, it's like walking, it's like having your best white suit and then walking through a group of people throwing mud and feces at each other. And
pretty much. Very good. I mean, very good. It is bad.
I mean, you may come out with your shoes looking pretty good, but that suit, you're going to have to get that cleaned. It's just the way it is.
Oh yeah. Well, absolutely. And there's nobody on the horizon now politically. I mean, I pretty much stay away from politics on my Facebook page and what have you. Every once in a while, I'll get so pissed off about something. I have to say this. I can't believe this is going on. And, the government's been shut down now for what, almost 30 days. Mm-hmm. It just goes on and on and on. And I think what this country needs is another Henry Kissinger. We need somebody who will sit these people down, both the left and the right, and say, now, what should we have for lunch? Because that's what he used to do. Kissinger is brilliant, but probably the best negotiator in the whole world. He sat down with the leader of Israel and the leader of Egypt. He sat down with them, and they despise each other. They want each other dead. And the first thing he did was, well, I think we should order lunch and get that ready to go when lunch comes around. They're looking at him like, this is like this important meeting that is going to prevent World War III if it works. Why are we? So I was wondering, what do you want for lunch? What should we have? Hey, why don't we all have the so-and-so? They said, oh, that sounds good. He got them to agree to one thing. Agree to that one stupid little sandwich that you want for lunch, and I'll work it from there. Okay, look, we agree that we all wanted, whatever, chicken salad for lunch. Okay, we can agree on that. How about this border thing? Oh, come on. There's something here.
Now, you did sales, right?
Yeah.
I've done sales. You've had sales training. Mm-hmm. I've had sales training. And just think, I mean, what is that on page 6? Yes, momentum.
Thank you. Exactly. Yes, Anthony.
And for those of you that don't know what that is, because you have two people that have been trained in sales, I'm gonna put this in a person who hasn't been trained in sales type way. One of the things you do is you get people to agree to something, and essentially, proverbially, you get their head nodding, and you go, "Oh, sure. Now you would agree that this particular computer cartridge, if I can prove that it'll last 30 days, and your computer cartridge only lasts 10 days, you would agree that if it's pretty much the same price and it goes 30 days, you can agree that's a benefit, right? Yeah, sure. And you do that 15 times, and the next thing you know, you're going, so your mailing address is, and your credit card number is, right? And, and the next thing you know, you're going, I just agreed to not blow up people? What the hell? What?
yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, I signed what? Okay. Well, that was all right. But that was the genius of Kissinger. He had sales training, and he understood. You get him happy, you get him agreeing. To this day, and I'm very proud of this, I hold the all-time sales record on QVC. I sold $11 million worth of a computer in 60 minutes, in 1 hour, and it took 2 weeks to plan that presentation. I wanted it to be perfect. I rehearsed it. I worked it. I said, okay, I want this. I want to show them that. I want to do that. Get the whole, and I had this great idea. Boy, this worked like a charm. We get a call. Bertha from Des Moines calls in. She's buying it's her first computer. And, I said, Bertha, what, rather than saying, what are you going to do with this computer? Because most people back in the 90s were saying, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I should probably have it. Said, Bertha, let me show you something. There's a new thing called Google. Let me go to it. Google lets you search for anything. Now, Bertha, what are your hobbies? And Bertha might say, I really like needlepoint. Okay, let me search needlepoint on Google, and the screen would come up on your Pulse TV screen, the Google screen. I was okay, needlepoint. I'd hit return, and it would come back with, like, even then, 2 or 3 million. Like I said, there are 2 or 3 million resources for needlepoint. To think that would keep me busy for a while. I didn't know that, and it worked so well. But the whole thing was showing people how it worked and putting the time in. Because I've had, like, quite honestly, TV shopping has become a horrid joke now. The hosts are, God forgive me for saying this, they're horrible. They're just little dancing Barbie dolls. And the guy who does the cook show is a dancing buffoon. Happy dance. Good Lord. What, anyway. Oh, he sells a lot when he does that. Yeah, horse cock he does, But can I say that? I'm sorry.
Yes,
anyway.
Yes, you can.
okay, good. I just said, oh God, well, there's the NBC censor coming in. But no, I looked. They're so excited about being on TV. I didn't care that I was on TV. Half of the time I didn't put makeup on. Half of the time I just went the hell out there and did what I did. And like I said, to this day, and they have almost twice as many viewers now as when I was there, and nobody's done an $11 million hour because nobody's willing to put the time in. It was, I hated those 2 weeks. It was like every day, okay, now what can I do? Now what can I do? And it just, but it paid off. And, you know, and people say, did you get a bonus? You damn Skippy, I got a bonus. You know,
I broke the record. Did they give me a bonus? Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, I just see, and I see that, you know, as Anthony, I see that in so many fields, in all fields now. People aren't willing to put the work in, to put the effort in, to make it happen, to say, so many people, I've written 4 books. I shouldn't say that. I've written a lot of books. I've had 4 books published. And people say to me, how can I write a book? I said, well, you know, just sit down in front of the computer and start to write. Oh, but it will take so long. I said, well, you're not going to write it in a night, you know. But I said to somebody, I said, if you set a goal for yourself, if you set a goal to write 1,000 words a day, I said, in 3 months, you got a book. In a quarter of a year, you've got now it's going to have to be obviously edited and et cetera, what have you, but you've got the core basic done. And people are like saying, well, you know, but 3 months, that sounds like an eternity to them. I'm very proud. Bob Keeshan, who played Captain Kangaroo, your younger listeners will have no idea. Nope. He was a children's television host and an educational television host. But we had Bob Keeshan on the air at QVC, and he had a book called Growing Up Happy, because he, you know, worked with kids for 40 years. He knew a thing or two, and it was a really cool book. It was like the history of early TV and how kids TV. And he was a rebel in his days because, you know as well as I do, a lot of those early cartoons were racist, bigoted piles of crap. And he wouldn't show them. He would look at the cartoon before the show and say, no, that's demeaning to Jews. That's demeaning to blacks. That's demeaning to Italians. He would say no, and got in trouble for it a lot of times, but he held his ground. Well, in his book, Growing Up Happy, he reprinted a cartoon from the Atlantic. And it's this great single panel cartoon, the little comic strip thing there. And it's a little kid looking at a microwave, and he looks disgusted. And the mother is obviously something's cooking in the microwave, and the little kid says, 2 minutes. The package says instant. You know, that's the world in which we live. People say, you know, good stuff takes time. Because I'm writing songs now and having some pretty decent success at it in Nashville, and people do the same thing. They say, well, you know, I want to write songs. Okay. You know, how long did it take you? I said, it took me 7 years till I got my first song published. 7 years? Okay. You know, but what if I hadn't started? Then I would have no songs published. Okay. You know, I'm 68 years old, and I'm sort of glad I'm on this side of the bell-shaped curve. Because I can hang around here for a little while longer, but after a while, these mothers are going to drive me crazy.
I just, the thing that always fascinates me is people tend to be so locked into the prize at the end. You know, they all people see is the person raising their hand and breaking the tape, and they don't realize that person had to run 26.2 miles. But before they ran 26.2 miles, 2 years ago, they were running 100 yards and 150 yards, and they had shin splints, you know, and so they don't understand that it, you know, I mean, even in pretty much any art form. But I people always ask me, how do you do this? How do you do that? And as soon as I start telling them exactly, you know, steps that aren't necessarily specific to me, but specific to that art form that they're interested in, the second I get to step 4, now granted it's probably 55 steps, I can already see their eyes glazing over because they think that, they're going to walk on stage and they're going to be able to make strangers laugh for an hour and a half with no effort.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that hit the nail on the head, Anthony. When I was in college, there was a great air personality on the air in Philadelphia named Ken Garland.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Garland was the morning man on WIP, back when WIP was what they called a middle of the road station. They would play music, but they would play a Beatles song, and then they'd play a Sinatra song, and then they'd play, I don't know if they'd play a Rolling Stones song, and then they'd play it was just a great conglomeration of really good music, not one particular format locked in like it is today. But Ken was so good at his job. He had, you can look this up, Ken had a 19 share in Philadelphia. He wins. Even in his heyday, DeBella didn't come anywhere, or Stern come anywhere near a 19 share of the audience. Okay. I mean, just massively popular.
Okay, let me just let the people that are listening. A 19 share in radio is like Super Bowl numbers.
Yes.
just to give them understanding of what that number means. That's like Super Bowl numbers on television. Okay.
It is today. If you've got a 4 or 5 share, you're a god or goddess. It's that way. But 19 share. So he was making tremendous money. God bless him. And he died too early of cancer. But just a great guy. I met him at the Crazy Horse Saloon in Barrington, New Jersey. I was in college, and he was hosting they didn't call them open mics back then. It was a talent show. And it was an interesting conglomeration of talent because there were poets. God save us from poets. There was a poet, and then somebody would come out and do a dramatic reading. I mean, you wanted to slit your wrists after. But I had written an original song about the Jonestown massacre because it's a light and happy topic, of course.
Of course.
But I wrote the song, and I did it and got a standing ovation. I was really pleased, and I won the talent contest that night. Ken and I became friends, and we stayed. I was doing stuff for him. He was actually my entry into the world of radio. I was doing stuff on WIP, like bits and jingles and things for him, back in the early 1970s. But he, people look at that and say, well, I could be in radio. I could be popular. Yeah, but he knocked around little crappy stations and built his chops. Like you said, he learned his craft. He got better at it, and he kept saying, "I don't want to work in Poughkeepsie the rest of my life, or wherever the hell he was working." He said, "I want the prize. I want Philly. I want New York. I want LA. I want one of the big markets that's going to have big money." And he worked and worked and worked, and he got it. And like you said, people think it happens immediately, but I remember there used to be comics. Well, I shouldn't say that. People pretending to be comedians would show up. And S. Anthony, keep in mind, this is like 1972. All right. 1972. Or was it 72? No, 76. No. Okay. Early 70s. I'm old. I forget things. Early 70s. In Barrington, New Jersey, a suburb of Philadelphia. And a guy comes up and he does his routine, but he immediately falls into what he believes to be a black accent.
Okay.
A black street guy's whiter than I am, doing this black street accent, and I looked at Ken and he looked at me. Ken did a face palm. I mean, really, and it was a genuine face palm. It was like, oh dear God. And so he was looking at it, and finally, I knew the guy who ran the PA system. So before Ken, I was closer to him. I went over to him and I said, I'd kill his mic. And he said, yeah. And we killed it. And, Ken came on and clapped. He said, oh, okay, thank you so much. So the guy's like, he said, you see, comedy's a little tougher than you might think. He said, you might think. And he said, he said, just a word to the wise. He said, I wouldn't necessarily walk out to your car alone tonight.
Oh,
because it was a pretty diverse crowd. And I'm thinking, somebody's going to kill this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It was very insulting and very hard. And he was, you could tell the look on his face was like, well, this was always fun. I heard him say at his table, well, it's always funny at the office. Well, you work with a bunch of bigots. Great. I'll avoid that company. Just wacky stuff. I mean, it's, I always think when somebody, and because I worked in QVC, when I'm married now, and very happily married, been married for since 2004, and everything's great. Living in the Sierra Nevada foothills here in Northern California, beautiful, halfway between San Francisco and Reno. And when I moved here, I thought, this is great, because I thought I would always be going to San Francisco. I said, always, and sometimes I'll go to the mountains. Well, how do I put this nicely about San Francisco? San Francisco is a shithole. It's awful. It's just terrible. Oh God, the people pooping in the streets and the syringes on the sidewalk, and they don't. It kills me that we are the most prosperous nation on the face of the planet, and we haven't figured out how to deal with homeless people yet. And I'm thinking, we have more money than God. We should certainly be able to get these people off the street and do something and take, look, people say, oh, they should work for a living. Well, most of them are nuts. They can't work, and when they do, it doesn't end well. But it's so funny. It's just the opposite now. I love the mountains. I love going up into the Sierra and going to Lake Tahoe and over to Nevada, where there's real gambling. We have Native American casinos here in California. If you throw a rock from my house, you could probably hit a Native. There are that many Native American casinos out here. It's quite honestly, it's their revenge, and good for them.
I feel really weird because I lived in California. I lived in San Francisco in the mid '90s. Basically, I lived in Hollywood, Lomita, which is a really tiny little town, the size of my left foot. But mostly it was in Hollywood and San Francisco. And when I left there, I was like, okay, it's all right. It's okay. It was nice enough. I mean, I enjoyed the people. But when I came back to the East Coast and some other people that I knew moved to California, man, the reports I got back, ooh, I mean,
bad.
Yeah,
it's just bad. It's very sad. I mean, it's just very sad. I went to a show, saw a couple of good people. Saw Patton Oswalt in San Francisco. He killed, absolutely killed. Saw Tom Jones, who also killed. I mean, Tom has become a contemporary artist. He's amazing, just amazing. The voice still absolutely perfect. But both times stayed in a nice hotel, and a couple of nights, my wife and I said, boy, it'd be nice to get a snack that wasn't, $94 for a Hershey bar or something in the honor bar. So I said, there's a convenience store right down the end of this. I said, I'll just go down to the convenience store. So I'm about to go out, and the clerk says to me, sir, where are you going? I said, I'm just down to the convenience store. I said, I want to get, some candy bars that aren't the national debt of a small European nation. And he said, I wouldn't go out tonight if I were you, sir. I said, really? Now, how do I put this? I'm usually prepared to take care of myself in this situation. And, and as the, Clint Eastwood character said, though your head clean off. So, people say to me, why are you wearing a jacket? Because it covers the shoulder holster. No. So I figured, well, I went, but I'm looking over my shoulder the whole time. Nothing happened, but I'm looking over my shoulder. God, they don't want me to go a block to the convenience store. And this hotel is like this nice, super nice, hoop-de-doo hotel. And it's in a really nice neighborhood, but at nighttime, they don't want you out on the street. And I went, this is awful. So I go to San Francisco when something's there that I have to see, or have to do. Great magic shop in San Francisco, one of the best I've ever been to, and so I'll go there
No, when you was that your first time going to San Francisco? The time you're referring to, or I mean, is it? I mean, you didn't.
Oh no, I was there with my. How old am I? I saw the Beatles, their last public performance at Candlestick Park.
Wow.
And I also saw them at the Cal Palace, as well. Was it 66, I guess, and there. And my Uncle Ed and I went to we stayed a little while in San Francisco. Then we went to the Monterey Pop Festival in '67. I was 16 at the time. So no, and San Francisco was great. I mean, we were there. God, we were there in the summer of love, and it was cool.
Oh, stop rubbing it in. Listen,
yeah,
because I was fascinated with that time period because I was watching a documentary on PBS about the Summer of Love right before I went there, and I was fascinated because the thing is, it's when you think about the way it started, and this is great. This has been love and peace and everything, and of course, inevitably, when you have young girls, young guys there, the drug dealers show up, and the scumbags show up. And, I'm pretty sure the people didn't want them to, oh God, and when I went there, of course, when I knew I was going to stay there for a while and I lived there, I immediately went to the Haight-Ashbury. I immediately went there, but of course, and I don't know what the hell I was thinking, because this is 30 years after that, and I go there and it looks like South Street in Philadelphia.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
pretty much, yeah.
Like, hey,
it's the Summer of Love was a good 4 or 5 months, like you said, until the drug dealers settled in and everything. But it was very cool. I mean, it was fine when I was there. When I was doing trade show magic, I was in San Francisco a couple of times in the I guess in the 80s, and it was fun. It was great. Everything was great and fine. And now, like I said, I just go to I enjoy the Sierra Nevada mountains. And
we'll be back right after this short message. And now, back to the show.
And like I said, we have all these Native American casinos here. There's so many rules in California now. This is weird. A Native American casino is on Native American land. So local laws and state laws, national laws do not apply on reservation land. Wow. They have their own deal. That's fine, except the only way they got these Native American casinos is they had to agree that they would say that there's no Wheel of Fortune. Which is that's the worst odds in the house. So no Wheel of Fortune. There's no roulette, and there's no craps. There's no dice, because California, being the last hurrah, so to speak, in the days of the gold rush, those are the 3 easiest games to rig, and those are the games that were always rigged, especially dice and especially roulette. Always rigged. So none of those games. They exist electronically. There's an electronic, like they couldn't rig that.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
there's a slot machine roulette thing, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But if you want real gambling, I just drive 2 hours in the other direction, and you go to there. You're in Nevada, and then you can bet on snail races. It's at whatever. Everything's cool. Everything's cool over there. But to get the casino for the Native Americans to be able to over, they had to say, okay. We won't have any roulette. We won't have any. And this is so sad. They have crap tables there, but they do it with cards. It is the saddest thing I have ever seen. The croupier has a deck of cards and he shuffles them, and then he deals out 2 cards, and that would be your dice roll. It's like, what the hell? You couldn't fix that? I could fix that. I could rig that.
Did they hand you a juice box and a snack pack with?
Exactly. It's so sad. And my wife. I'm not a real casino guy. My wife likes to go to the casino, and of course I have to. There's a thing, and God forgive me, I'm about to sin against political correctness. There's something about women and gambling. When they win, they won't stop. It's like and it's always, and I at least I've convinced my wife to stop saying the line, "I'm playing with their money." No. You won it. It's your money. It's your money. Now we can go home. We're $300 ahead of the game. We're going home. No, this machine's hot. No, and then all the money goes back into the machine, and she has a good time. And well, whoopee.
I had a girlfriend that was standing next to me at a table. I'm winning, and she literally, she's standing next to me. Now, what happened was I was at the table. She just walks up next to me. She was at another table and lost all of her money. She walks up next to me, and I look over and smile because this is my lady. But no one could tell that because I was just concentrating on the game. So she sticks her hand over and starts taking chips and sliding it over to where she is. And I don't care. I mean, this is my lady. I don't give a crap. But of course, as you know, it's a casino.
Oh, yes.
So what do you think happened next?
Eye in the Sky had about 19 guys come down and explain to her why she shouldn't do that.
It was hilarious. It's like, so we're standing there, and the guy at the table looks at me like, "Oh," and I go, "What?" And it's like a whole football team. "Ma'am, you're gonna have to take you."
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. We did some show. We went to the Consumer Electronics Show when I was with QVC. In fact, I'm so old it used to be called Comnex, and then eventually it was called the Consumer Electronics Show. It is, by the way, a grandiose waste of time. So let me piss those people off too. I'm just making friends wherever I go. But no, it was just, so we went. So a fellow host, I won't name him because he's still alive and he's a vengeful son of a bitch. So, but no, he had never shot dice before. Never gone to the crap table. I said, well, no, I'll take you. So we go to the crap table, and and I'm doing okay. I'm up down. And, I figure, well, if the up comes up, a bit less than the big time gamblers. If the up comes up to $100, I'm done. I'm walking away, and it did not, and that was okay. But he comes over, and I told him, I said, well, that's the pass line, and that's the don't pass line. So the don't pass line is when you're betting against me, because I was a shooter. He said, oh, so he starts betting against me. So I hate him now. Okay. and I didn't make a couple of passes. So he wins. But then I started, then the dice come around the table. When I get him the next time, I start throwing passes, but he's on the don't pass line. So in the middle of a roll, he moves his don't pass bet from the don't pass to the pass. Ooh. Same thing with you. A bunch of guys come down and explain to him he cannot move his in the middle of a roll. And he's like, what? And I said, sir, you cannot. I said, okay. I said, look, it's his first time. I said, please don't hurt him. Please. So, but it was very funny. It was just very funny. People that don't know the rules of the game. But other than that, I mean, Northern California is pretty cool. I mean, it doesn't snow where we are. But a half hour up the interstate, it snows. That's where we are in the foothills. So if you want to see snow, I go a half hour up in the interstate. And everybody out here skis. Ugh. They ski, they snowboard, they hike. See, hiking should be outlawed because nothing good happens on a hike. Every time in the spring and in the summer, and then even in the winter, when you turn the TV on, 2 hikers were lost in the Sierra today. People say, I'm going to go on a trail that nobody's ever been on before. Well, I think there might be 30 or 40 million Native Americans that would disagree with you about that, but okay, fine. They're saying, I'm going to the store. I want to go where nobody's ever gone. For me, hiking is okay. Is it a nice asphalt trail? Do I have cell phone service? If not, I'll take my sat phone. I mean, I'm not going to be out of touch with anybody. And we have a crap load of hills out here. I mean, just because it's the foothills. So, and so I bought a bike, it's a classic old fart bike. Mm-hmm. It's called pedal assist. That means when you hit a button, this little powerful electric motor, thank you, Elon Musk, kicks in and takes you up the hill. but it doesn't look like there's a motor in the bike. So I got to tell you, this old fart 68-year-old guy, there's a really, really beautiful lady jogging up this hill, and it was a pretty warm day, and she's dying coming up this hill. And I'm coming up like, oh, and I'm pedaling. I'm just going real slow, and I'm just shooting right up, and she looks at me, and she gives me a big thumbs up, and I wave to her, and you have no idea the motor's doing all the work. I'm doing nothing. But, yeah, so I have the bike. So I get a little outdoor activity here. I'm not as nuts as they are mostly out here, and God love them. I mean, they're a hardy breed. They love outdoor activities.
You better hope that Elon Musk doesn't really get a hold of that bike, because he might add ludicrous mode to it.
Well, that's right. Exactly.
I just want to say right now that I've decided I wanted to make some new Tesla bikes with a ludicrous mode. You step on the pedal and it goes 0 to 60 in 1/8 of a second, and
exactly.
And but when I went there, it was the first time I actually saw a mountain lion in real life in California, and when I'm sitting there going, I'm standing, I'm going, did you guys? I mean, look, come on, man, let's hike, man. Yeah, I know, but this. You see that? He goes, what? And I said, I don't want to alarm you, but we're in the mountains, and this. If you look over there about 600 yards, there's an animal that could eat us. Oh well, if you just and he goes to the whole if you do this and if you don't do that, and I'm going, I just bought this new car. And I'm about 6 yards from the car, and I'm going to get in it. And you two idiots can get it in if you want to, but oh no, man! I'm like, I said, listen, put the bikes back in the car and get in the car. I'm not because the thing, and because they did a lot of hiking, and I didn't mind it too much, but I preferred the beaches of Santa Monica.
Amen.
I prefer going around. It's like you go in Santa Monica, and because the thing is, it's funny to people, and I've never gone to California and stayed less than 2 years. So it's like I literally went the first time I was just going out to audition for some television shows and things. And I went, I'm not going back. And I spent the entire 90s there. Then I went back again and went, you know what? I'm not going back again. And I stayed, so I stayed for a while. So, but, my friends go, well, he asked, you going to come out and visit us? I said, daggone well, if I show up in California, it's going to be a 2 to 4 years. He says, we will Skype, my friend, because you know me if I get out there. Because it's as an East Coast guy, it's really difficult to go someplace where, here in like in New Jersey or Philadelphia where I'm from, you go to, you know the area. You get 3 months of, wow, this weather's awesome. And then you go someplace where there's 11 months of, wow, this weather's awful.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly.
And a couple of days mixed in there. And it's like, good. How do you, that's why the state has the most people in it. Who the hell wants to leave that?
Well, that's right. Even here. Now we have maybe three, not even bad, but 3 months where it rains. And, and of course the Sierra, we're in the middle of a storm right now. Mm-hmm. They're getting 5 feet of snow up about an hour up the interstate from me. 5 feet of snow up at the summit of the mountains. They're getting and that's great because there's a lot of ski resorts, and quite honestly, all our water comes from that. So it better damn well snow, or we had a drought a couple of years ago. It was kind of scary.
Yeah.
Everybody's lawn went brown, and as I said, if you water your lawn, we are going to kill you. Mm-hmm. But no, everything, the water's, knock solid oak. Water's been fine. Everything's been great. But other than those 3 months, we have really, really beautiful weather. It gets a little hot in the summer. Some days it goes over 100 degrees. And people say to me, if one more person says to me it's a dry heat, I'm going to jail for assault because I don't care. My oven's a dry heat, and I don't want to spend time in there. It's 100.
I used to hear that all the time, and I'm sitting there going, oh, God, do you watch professional wrestling? Do you know what a clothesline is?
Exactly. Yes.
I just want to stick my arm out and close. It's because I when I was in Nevada, and it would say I went to Arizona, and that was the first time I actually looked up and saw the temperature, and the temperature said, I think it was either 123 or 132.
Oh my God!
And I thought it was broken.
Oh yeah, well it does. They hit those 110 plus temperatures out there quite around the Phoenix area, especially. We'll hit some days. We'll hit 110 in the summer. There are very few will hit 110, and those are the days that go, oh, but it's a dry heat. Shut up, shut up. It's hot. It's miserable. Oh, but you see, your sweat just evaporates. Good. I'll smell like crap, and I'll be uncomfortable. I'm just so pleased with that.
And my nose will be dry. Yay.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I can't. I have to run a humidifier 24/7 for my guitar collection, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. And of course, our main power and light company just declared bankruptcy.
Yay.
Because of they had their power lines, their infrastructure is like 100 plus years old.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a day back last August, late August, early September, the winds up about 100 miles north of me. The wind started blowing, 60, 70 miles an hour, and it sparked a fire, and it totally it killed 86 people. A wildfire that killed, it moved so fast, it killed 86 people, burned down an entire town. The entire town is gone. Something like 40,000 homes gone. Vaporized. They're gone. So all these people are going to sue the power company. So the power company had to declare bankruptcy. But luckily, the governor has said, well, you can declare bankruptcy all you want, but when these people come to sue you, you're paying up. You will find the money, or you'll go to jail. It's just that kind of thing. That said, it is kind of just a bad wildfire time out here. They had, of course, Southern California had those bad wildfires too. But the North had the smoke was so bad, was so thick, and I'm 100 miles south. The smoke was so thick, they were warning us not to go out of our houses. You couldn't see more than a couple of blocks. There was so much smoke in the air. From I think it was at one point it covered 200,000 acres or something. It's just a unbelievable thing. Sad for that. And it breaks my heart for those people. We've all donated, and we've all done what we can. But it's not a bad place. I mean, I'm probably moving back to Nashville just because the music is going so well, and I travel there at least once, sometimes twice a month. Back and forth to Nashville.
Yeah, you're gonna move there.
Yeah, I think I'm not that, and there's the only way to fly direct is to fly from San Francisco, and the airport's about 2 hours and 15 minutes from me. For San Francisco, the Sacramento airport is only 30 minutes. So, I'll go to Sacramento, and it's usually a 2-hop. Usually, Sacramento, San Diego to Nashville, or Sacramento, Salt Lake City, which is a cool place to land because there are two giant mountains on either side, and the plane comes this threads the needle, comes right down between them and lands and everything. It's just really beautiful until you realize, the pilot screws up by 1 degree, you're going to die. But I'm not afraid of dying anymore as I get older. Pain and suffering scares me, but I think if a plane whacks into the side of a mountain, that's got to be pretty quick.
Yeah, that's pretty quick. That's you're done there. It's like essentially landing in that airport, you're the football, and those are the goalposts, my friend.
That's it. You're just coming straight in. But yeah, but I enjoy that, and things are things in California are good. We've been here almost 7 years, and we really enjoy it. Love the people. I'm a little too East Coast for everybody out here.
I can relate to that.
Oh yeah, you know. I'm not, because we had to go. We live on a lake, and it's about 5 miles to walk around the lake. And we had to go out with I'm the president of the homeowners association because I'm a glutton for punishment, and I wanted the power. This way, if I want to do work on my house, I just approve it and do it. But I was out with we had a fence contractor. We have it with the whole lake area has this really nice cast iron fence around it. And we were out to getting the fence painted, and we're walking with the fence contractor. And he looks at my boot. He says, "What's that in your boot?" I said, "It's a boot holster." He said, "You have a gun?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm legally permitted to carry a gun in California." He said, "Why?" I said, "This whole area is snake infested." I said, "And they're rattlesnakes." So he said, "Oh." I said, he said, "You're that good a shot?" I said, "No, the gun's loaded with what's called snake shot. They're like little shotgun shells for your pistol." I said, "And if a snake rears its ugly head, I'm going to blow him in half. And we're fine." And luckily we didn't see any snakes, but they were like, I was quite the topic of conversation. He had an ankle holster. It's like, well, why don't you? Don't you? It's just a wacky thing. And then I will say this. I like the gun control in California. It's sadly, we have more shootings out here than I've ever seen in my life. Why? Because I went to buy a target rifle. I joined this little group that goes and shoots targets once a month. And I needed a little flinker 22 caliber target rifle. I went to buy that. Well, first of all, you have to take a test, which I think is very cool. And you see people say, "No, it's not the Second Amendment." No, screw you. Take a test. If you don't know, if you can't get a perfect score in this test, you shouldn't touch a firearm. And then, so I took the test. I aced the test. Then they ask you all these questions. Are you a convicted felon? And they ask you that like 3 different times. The third time I said, "No, but if you ask me one more time, the answer may change." And then they do that. They do the background check. And then like 10 days later, you get your little goofy target rifle. But I'm totally for that. I think that's great. I think they made sure I'm not some sort of lunatic that wants to, take over the world with a 22 caliber semi-automatic rifle that holds 7 bullets. And what an idiot I was, because the way these people shoot, it's a little competition thing, and you have to shoot 10 shots.
Oh, wow.
in I think it's 2 minutes. No, in 1 minute. 10 shots in 1 minute. Well, after 7, I have to pull the clip out and pop 3 more in, pop it in, boom, boom, So that just loads of fun. But again, I look at, I'm what I like to think of as a responsible gun owner. That definitely check my background. Make me wait 10 days. I'm fine. If I go to buy a gun and say, "No, I have to have it tonight," that's not going to end well. There's no scenario where that will end well. You can wait times, and you'll be like, "Well, how do you feel about assault rifles?" I don't need one. There was a great episode of CSI Miami, and CSI Miami. The episode was about this super machine gun.
Yep. Okay.
That remember it would vaporize people. It would just vaporize them. It shot so many bullets. And the guy's aiming one at Horatio, and he says, "In a couple of seconds, there's not going to be enough left of you to put in the thimble. It's going to fire 1,600 rounds in less than a second." And Horatio pulls out his pistol, fires once, puts one between the guy's eyes, and has the great line, "Apparently, it only takes the one." And it's still, I don't need an assault rifle. I don't need, if you can't get it done with a regular weapon, and I'm not a big fan of even semi-automatic weapons. I'm an old fart. I like revolvers. Simple, clean. I know when it's loaded. I know when it's not loaded. I still double, triple check, but it's just an old fart thing. Just an old fart thing. And I don't hunt. I target shoot. It's just and I don't have 8,000 guns in I have 7,000, but it's a special room in the house, and uncover. But yeah, they're not. It's funny because in Northern California there are a lot of real staunch conservatives, which is surprising. And I will not talk politics. I mean, my wife has a lot of friends, and their husbands are like these real strict right-wing guys, and I respect that. I don't care. I'm not sleeping with them. I'm not, I'll have a glass of wine with the guy. I'm fine. Doesn't bother me. He's not going to change my opinion. I'm not going to change his. I saw this great thing on the internet the other day that says, "Life is short. So spend more time online arguing politics with strangers. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I look at sadly, it took me many years of my life to realize that. But yeah, I'm me. I just do my stuff, and I don't care as long as what other people do doesn't hurt me or bother me. Do what you want to do. They legalized marijuana. Gee, what a surprise! The DUI rates went up dramatically. Okay, I'm fine. Whatever. I just drive more carefully. I'm the least aggressive driver you will ever see, because when somebody's driving crazy, I just nicely pull over to the side, let them get several miles in front of me, and then keep going. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
We have that in common. I just let them go. And as far as the political arguments online, I am the worst person in the world to argue with politically online, because I care. It's like I don't invest in the angry person at all. So when I got on Twitter and I posted something, and this person comes in, he's all guns blazing, and I just go, I said, apparently you're angry about something. And he gets even more angry. You rotten mother. I said, you have to understand something. He says, you've called me every name under the sun, and I have not returned fire. I literally just talked about your specific points. And then after about a few minutes, the same person was calling the name. I'm not even going to repeat the words he was using, but just, you rotten sassafras. And these are the last three things the guy says. He goes, I was expecting you to attack me and call me names, but you didn't. What's your name again? I said, well, it's on the Twitter. You're looking right at it. He goes, oh, that's Anthony Thomas. He goes, I'm saying, you're looking at my name and you type this. He goes, was it Santhony? No, it's S. Anthony. Okay, look, man, I expected you to attack me, but you just made your point, and I respect that. I apologize for cursing at you, and you have a good day. And he just moved on.
Good. And it totally disarms them. It totally disarms them when you won't play their game. I mean, I've only had one instance in my life, and it was in Pennsylvania. A guy I don't know to this day I don't know what I did. I was driving my car in Chester County, Pennsylvania, and a guy comes right up on my ass, right up, and he's blowing his horn, he's flashing his lights. First of all, I thought it was a policeman. I thought, uh-oh. And I looked back and I said, no, policemen have a better car than that. This old beat-up car. And I thought, well, fine. So I just pull over. He pulls over. It's like, oh, crap. Now, I had a pretty fast car. Mm-hmm. I had a BMW M3. So I thought, okay, I hate to do this, but I'm just going to lose him. So I shot down the road. And that little piece of crap he's driving, he shot down the road too. And I'm not willing to drive 125 miles an hour, although the car would have done it, on these back roads, because a kid pulls out on a bicycle, he's going to heaven. Mm-hmm. And so finally he's blowing his horn, he's yelling, he's screaming. I pull over, he pulls over, he gets out of his car, he's got a tire iron in his hand. Mm-hmm. I thought, oh dear God, no. And I'm thinking, and I was on QVC at the time, and I'm thinking, this is not going to play well. QVC Host, guns down motorist, film at 11, So I get out of the car, and, he's coming, and okay, I admit, I pulled my gun. I felt threatened. Mm-hmm. I pulled my gun, but my gun has a laser sight that activates automatically when you touch the grip. And there's a laser light on this guy's crotch as he's approaching me. I said, look down. He said, what? And he said, oh, that's a toy. So I had to shoot one into the dirt to show him it wasn't a toy. I said, no, it's not a toy, but I do enjoy it. So I said, it's your choice at this point, sir. I said, if you take one step closer to me, you're singing high soprano. I said, I'm sorry. I'm good in a crisis like this. I'm thinking, like, I got the gun. I win. Mm-hmm. I said, just get back in your car and move on. And this didn't happen. No, he gets in his car and he leaves. The reason I tell the story, it has actually a really lovely, happy ending. A mayor of a town in Chester County, was a dear, when I lived in Pennsylvania, was a dear friend of mine, and he ran the police department in that town. I told him about the incident and the fact that because the laser dot was on this guy, I didn't have to fire a shot. I had to fire one into the dirt to show it was a real gun, but I didn't have to shoot him. And he said, really? He equipped the entire police department with laser sights. and the police shootings, which weren't that great to begin with, there weren't that many, dropped dramatically because when they had the gun came out and that little red light goes on you, it's like, okay, you decide from here. There's the red light. And he said it was just he said, that's great. He said, as far as I'm concerned, it was a nonviolent answer to a violent attack. And of course, then he would say, what if it hadn't worked? I said, I'm a good enough shot. I'd have shot him in the knee. I said, and then endured the next 3 years of lawsuits for crippling him. But I said, but it wasn't worth killing the guy over. I said, but I'd drop him. I'd blow his knee to pieces. Let him deal with that. But I said, didn't have to. The laser dot did it. So I always feel, every time I'm in that little town in Chester County, I always feel good, that the police are using laser sights because some idiot tried to hit me with a tire iron.
That's the weirdest thing. I mean, somebody jumps out of the car. So they're going, it's one of those things where you're going, you really have horrible impulse control. What exactly do you think is going to happen when you jump out with the tire iron? If you are able to do what you're thinking of doing right now, you're going to be in jail forever.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's you'll never vote again. You'll never be able to own a firearm. Thank God. If you can't already, but it was just so funny. It was just so such a weird and again, friggin' Chester County, Pennsylvania. It's like pastoral city. It's like rolling horse country. Good Lord. Those small towns. The most I've ever dealt with in when I leave, well, I'm not there now, but when I would leave Philadelphia, when we get maybe an hour outside. So the further you get out, that's what's really weird. Like when you have states like Pennsylvania and Ohio, they're constructed very, very similarly to the entire country. You got Pittsburgh on one side, Philadelphia on the other side, and you have the T in the middle. It's like the United States. You have California on this side, you have New Jersey, you have Philadelphia, you have Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut on this side, and you have everything else in the middle. It's exactly the same thing. Right. And so it's amazing to me when I would go to those places, and you feel uncomfortable sometimes because they know you're not from there. Immediately. And it doesn't mean you could be a white guy driving. They're like, yeah, we know you're a white guy too, but still, you're not from here. Where you from? Philly? It's one of them Philly guys. It's like, come on, man. It's an uncomfortable thing, but for the most part, they were actually really super nice people, and I enjoyed that part of it. Even though it was more like, it was like about 80-20. 20% of the people you're going, oh, geez, here we go. And the other, I was like, you're going, all right, get your soda, and get in the car. It's as bad as the damn mountain lion. But the other 80% of the people, and even if it was the, what corporate, I mean, you know what I mean. You know what the corporate niceness is, where the person can't stand your guts, but they're going to be over the top nice anyway. It was okay. So maybe I shouldn't say 80-20. I should say 80. I should say 70-20-10. That's more like it. And so I believe me, I understand when it's like when the knucklehead shows up out of nowhere. I've been there a couple times, and I didn't have a gun, unfortunately. I just had the club.
Clubs can. Well, this is funny about California. Those extendable staffs, batons, steel batons. They're totally illegal to own in California. Yes. I think you can own a gun, but you can't. You can shoot them, but you can't beat them. And
the funny thing is, I've seen a bunch of them when I lived in Hollywood.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a great, if you know how to use it, it's a great defensive weapon. But you have to be willing. That's the thing people don't realize. You know, if you hit somebody with one of those, they are going to scream, maybe cry, or bleed, or all three. Mm-hmm. And you have to be prepared for that happening. But again, if you do it in California, it's like a 5-year automatic. It's like a gun in New York. It's like a 5-year automatic penalty for using one of those extendable batons. But as long as you have a permit, you can carry a gun. Shoot them. Don't hit them. You know, okay, I'm fine with that.
Now I want to ask you this, my friend, because you very slyly talked about moving to Nashville. You talked about the music, you know, and you know, is that the main thing now? I mean, is that the thing that's consuming you right now, taking over your life?
Pretty much. It always has, because like I said, I started off as a music major in college, and even in advertising, I wrote a lot of jingles. If you go to YouTube, search Reno Dares You. I wrote the city song for the city of Reno when I was in the world of advertising, and wrote a lot of other jingles for AT&T, for Coke. They were a client, for Southern Bell, and what have you. So music always played, and I played in college. I played in bands and things to pay bills. But now, when I came to California, I got a job with CBS Radio, and it turned out to be the worst job of my adult life. And I'm sure they feel the same way about me. So it's a mutuality that we have. And the only time of my life, I was fired. I was fired from the job, and I thought after that, I thought, you know, I have done okay in my life. I said to Roseanne, I said, I'm going to retire. I said, I'm in good enough shape. I'm going to retire. So 7 years ago, I retired. When we moved, I was only there for like 6 months. I retired. I started writing music, started writing songs, which I've always done, but I started to do it seriously, and then doing serious demos of the songs. And I did started shopping them in Nashville, and it took 7 years, almost, just recently. I can't mention the name of the band, but I can say they're older than I am, so that kind of limits it. And they're super famous. I think they're super famous, and they're going to record one of my songs. And I just heard another new country artist, young guy in his the later 20s, is going to record one of my songs. So I felt good. I said, well, I got a pretty good age spread there, you know, from 20 to death. And I back, I guess, last year, they built a new sports arena in Sacramento, which is about 30-minute drive for me to downtown Sacramento. Pretty city, pretty town. And they built the Golden One Center to keep the Sacramento Kings here, who having a pretty damn good year this year for a young a friend of mine calls them young Lions. They're a young team, and they're holding their own. So they had a jingle contest for the Sacramento Kings, and you had to write a parody of a Beatles song, and it had to be 30 seconds long. So a lot of restrictions. So I did a little thing on Blackbird, for the tune of Blackbird, and you rewrote the lyrics and what have you for the Kings and the Golden One Center and everything. I won that, and that was cool. I won a guitar, just what I needed. But they asked me to play at the airport. They said, you know, we really like you. Would you consider? And it was a paid gig. They said, would you play at the airport for arriving passengers around the holidays? So I did that last year, and it was a hoot and a half. I mean, just people coming in, people arriving are just, boy, we're here. This is great. It's Christmas. It's Thanksgiving. So I played a couple of days before Thanksgiving, a couple of days before Christmas, and the day before I was going to start the gig on Thanksgiving, they came to me, and of course they had to get a business license, and because it's for the city of Sacramento. It's like $30, no big deal. Get a business license and get your parking permits for the airport and get your ID so that the TSA doesn't tase you as you start to unload all this questionable equipment from your car.
Yeah.
No, this is music equipment. No bomb. But anyway, oh God, I'm a racist pig. I just made anyway. But so you have to go through. Well, when they gave me my parking permit the day before the gig, he said, "Now you realize you can't play any religious music." I said, excuse me, because it's Christmas. He said, "Yeah, but it's for the city of Sacramento, and it's separation of church and state." And of course, I didn't want to get into that argument with anybody, so I said, "Okay, your football, I won't." But it cut off half my repertoire. No Silent Night, no "O Come, O Ye Faithful," no "Joy to the World." I mean, all the cool Christmas songs of, not all, but half of the damn Christmas songs are gone. So I think, what am I going to do? So I started writing original Christmas songs, and I wrote one about Sacramento called, obviously, Christmas in Sacramento. Mm-hmm. And that went over really well. So this year, I actually worked on the song. I added a bridge. I made it before it was just verse chorus. Now it's verse chorus bridge. Mm-hmm. And I wrote it, and I went into the studio. We recorded the instrumental back east, and I ran out of time. This is the time in which we live, S. Anthony, and this to this day still, I'm old enough that this amazes me. Cut all the instrumental tracks back in. Actually, we did it in a studio in Marietta, Georgia, because they're about a 4-hour drive from Nashville, but they're really, really good. So, but I was out of time. I had to get back here. So they said, "Look, we'll send the instrumental up to the cloud. Find a studio in Sacramento, and they'll pull it down from the cloud, cut the vocal, and then have them just isolate the vocal, shoot it back up to the cloud. We'll pull it back down because we know what you want in the mix." I've worked with these guys before. We'll produce it. We'll shoot the finished product up to the cloud, pull it down. You got it. So I found a studio that's about 10 minutes from me. Guy's got a great setup. Went in, recorded the vocal, did the whole thing. That song, this year, I was on Good Day Sacramento, the big morning TV show here, several times with it, and was even on their Christmas show, which I was very flattered about. Yeah. And was there any money for it? No. And people say, "Why did you produce it?" Because I had that little voice inside me saying, produce it. And quite honestly, that little voice usually says, kill them all. So this time I could actually listen to it, and I said, okay, it wouldn't leave me alone. I produced it, and it did a lot of good things, I think, and made a lot of contacts out here for whatever. I mean, that's terrific. But as that happened, the universe likes movement. And because I did that movement, and because a lot of people really thought had a lot of fun with the Sacramento Christmas song, and it brought happiness to some people. Mm-hmm. Then my other songs started to hit in Nashville. This one with the older country group. Like I said, they're going to do it. I think they're going into the studio at the end of this month to cut it. And I was really flattered about that because they turned it down last year, and they didn't get it. They didn't get a hit. And their people came back to me and said, "We'd like to record this because we really need a hit, and we think this is a hit." I said, "Oh, okay, good. That's good. I like that." And then this young guy with the song. So it again, it took time. I can't tell you after 7 years how many rejections I looked at after during those 7 years. I'd be, "No, they're just not good enough for us. You're really not writing country songs like everybody else." I said, "Well, thank you. I don't want to write country songs like everybody else."
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, well, exactly. You're cheating, liver will make you. So it's going well, and I know a lot of people in the country business now, and I'm sort of respected, sort of. I mean, I'm still kind of an outsider, but nobody slams doors in my faces anymore, so that's good.
That's always
Yeah, I consider that a win. And it's just become a thing where, and I love Nashville. Nashville has become such an incredible. We lived there for 8 years, and it was a wonderful town. And I mean, Sacramento, this whole area, the foothills area, and Sacramento's a very cool town, very cool, and people are fabulous. A little, like I said, a lot of staunch right-wing conservatives, but I don't care. They're good people, and I love the area. I love the geography, but Nashville's very cool. I'm not going to be as close to the ocean as I am here, because there's a couple of places we really like to go to. There's a place called Half Moon Bay, a little south of San Francisco. We really enjoy that. That's kind of a fun town on the water. Nice to get away and just sit out on the patio and play the guitar just for the hell of it. Not what I'm saying. What rhymes with rutabaga? What rhymes with, when you're writing a song?
Now I would be remiss if before I let you go, we got to talk about the infomercials with Ron Popeil. We got to talk about that. There was no way in the world you're getting out of here without talking about that.
I thought you just said it and forget it. Sorry, I had to. Okay. And I think you owe Ron $5 because I use that. I'm not sure. But anyway, here's Ron Popeil created selling stuff directly on television. He's the godfather. He's the guy that said, screw it. I don't have to do all these county fairs and store demonstrations. I'll buy time on TV and I'll sell these things. And damned if it didn't work. He created the industry. So he came to QVC with a food dehydrator. And I mean, that's kind of a cool thing to have, but there are very few times in my life when I've said to myself, boy, I'd really love to make some fruit roll-ups. But if you have kids, I think I'd really like to dry some herbs. Okay, fine. Well, he had this demo set up for the food dehydrator on QVC. This is in the early 90s. And I think he had 20 food dehydrators with different demos set up. Because he's used to the half-hour infomercial, which is really 28:30. And that half-hour infomercial has to be exactly 28:30 to allow them time to get in and get out and all that good stuff. So he's not used to having 8 to 10 minutes on QVC to sell a product. So his first 2 airings failed. And I went to him and said, Ron, I had never met him before. I said, Ron, I got to tell you, I said, you're doing too many demos for an 8 to 10 minute sell. I said, just concentrate on the roll-ups. I said, the jerky is cool. Making your own beef jerky or turkey jerky or whatever you're doing. I said, but the dried ornaments and the clay figure, just drop that. They'll see that in the book. And of course, he took my head off. He said, Ron Popeil. And I said, okay, fine. I know who the hell you are. I said, you don't know this medium. You don't know this. I said, you invented this business. But this is a hybrid. We do 8 to 10 minutes on a product, not a half hour. Well, he said, no, we're going to do the demo my way. Well, that doesn't, to borrow a line, homie, don't play that one. So as soon as he was gone, I took all but 3 of the dehydrators off the set. I took 17 dehydrators and put them on the other side, put them away where he couldn't get them. He came out to do the show and there's 3 dehydrators. And it's too late to do anything because I said, we're live with Ron Popeil. Ron, great to see you. You invented this. And he's like a deer in headlights. But God bless him. He's enough of a pro. He went with it. And we sold the damn thing out. And we got done. And he said, you motherfucker. He said, how dare you? He said, I love you. He said, you were right. He said, you stuck by your guns. Good for you. And he said, I want to be your friend. So we became friends. While he was at QVC, we worked together a lot with the different things. And when I left, he said, as soon as your non-compete expires, which is a year, as soon as your non-compete expires, he said, I'd like to do some infomercials with you. So we did the rotisserie infomercial, which is the highest grossing infomercial in history.
Oh, I can see
I am
why.
very proud.
I get a kick out of, because I knew you at this point.
Yes.
So, and I'm sitting there going, is that Steve on top?
Absolutely.
And I'm pointing to people going, I know this guy, Ron Popeil. Not Ron. Steve.
It worked. It worked so well. We did a second. We did one for a set of cutlery, and that did very, very well. It was one of the top. I think it's one of the top 20 infomercials in revenue generation. But the rotisserie was the mother of all. And we still have ours and still use it. It works like I'm not just. It's not a commercial for it because he's long ago sold that company.
I remember talking to you. I forgot where we were, but I go, Steve, tell me the truth. The rotisserie, what's the deal here? And you told me, he goes, no, it works. It works. And I go, that's all, because I trusted you. Like I told you in the beginning of the show, I knew when you told me the thing, QVC, Food Network, all these other things, I knew you weren't lying. Because in show business, when you meet somebody, every time, I said, every time they tell you something, they go, then I did this. And then you find out later, that guy works at a bank. No. He's never sang a note. He sang in the shower once, and we called the landlord and made him stop.
Well, that is very, very true. But with Ron, it was so we're still friends. I still he has two teen. Well, I think one's in her early 20s now. Mm-hmm. He has 4 daughters, but by his current marriage, he has 2 daughters. One's a junior in high school, and one's a sophomore. She's in Duke, sophomore at Duke University. Nicest kids in the whole wide world. And I've known them since they were, a gleam in his eye. And they're just the coolest kids. They speak fluent Spanish. They speak fluent French. They can play the piano. They're brilliant, wonderful, and they're nice kids. So every year, I always get them something for Christmas. I remember one year, I got a hell of a deal on Nikon binoculars. These binoculars should have been a fortune, and I got them for really, I thought, a really good price. And they were, I think one of them was in elementary school, and the other one had just gone into high school. And one of the houses Ron has is in Santa Barbara, right? We're just south of Santa Barbara, right on the beach. It's beautiful. So I said, and their mother, Robin, had told me that the kids really love to, go out and, you watch the whales and the dolphins and things. So I thought, well, I'll get them really cool, powerful binoculars. And I got them for them. And they thanked me for them. And the next time I talked to Robin, she said, the kids love those binoculars. I said, oh, they're looking at a lot of marine life. He said, no, they're spying on the neighbors. God love them. They're real kids. They're real kids. So Ron and I have remain close. We talk, I see him a couple of times a year, and we talk a few times a year, but he is one of my closest and dearest friends, and he is so nice. There's no contract between us. There's nothing in writing. We have a handshake, and he's been more than fair to me. I mean, that's to say that, and that in this business, to be in business with somebody, and the checks arrive when they're supposed to, and they're mostly bigger than what they were supposed to be, and what have you. I mean, he's the real deal. He's the real deal. He really is. And he's 84 now, I believe, and going strong. Going strong. Just a powerhouse.
The way it should be, my friend. I look forward to that. It's quite a ways for me, but I hope I can do that.
I'm sure you will. You're one of the most naturally funny people, and I'm not saying it because I'm on your podcast. You're one of the most naturally funny people I have ever met, and even Roseanne. Though I think Roseanne met you once.
Yes, we did. That's right.
And she said, that man is funny. She said, that man's going to do things. She said, that man is really funny. I said, yes, he is.
Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you something right now. You're not the only one that loves your wife now, buddy.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you. No, I agree with her. I mean, you would come up with stuff like on the cuff that I would take hours to write, and it wouldn't be that good. I mean, just that you were just fast and quick and funny, and it just, and the bottom line, but what's the one key thing every comedian has to be? He or she has to be smart, and you're smart. You're tremendously intelligent, and that's what it takes. If you got that and drive, you can be super funny.
And I want to thank you very much for the compliment, mainly because I was really looking forward to having you on the program, and now that you said that, I'm editing everything out but that. So
works for me.
This, because the podcast is it's going to be roughly about an hour and a half. Well, it was. Now it's going to be about 2.5 minutes of you just saying nice stuff about me.
It works. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Any publicity is good publicity.
The bad part about it is I'm going to get a truckload of email going, your show's supposed to be an hour and change, and it's just 2 minutes of Steve saying.
Let me tell you, on a loop for an hour.
Yep. Well, you know what? Let me write a loop for an hour. You're damn
loop
right.
For an hour. Absolutely perfect, S. Anthony. Perfect.
Steve, I just want to say, man, I really, seriously, man, I really was looking forward to this one more than just about anything, because like I said, I really enjoyed talking to you back in the day when I had the pleasure of being actually at the table with you, and I was looking forward to this, and it was better than I knew it was going to be great anyway. But of course, as always, you deliver more than right over the top.
Well, thank you, sir.
I appreciate that. Now, what I'm going to do is, now, do you have anything you want to tell the people about your websites and things of that nature? Because I'm going to link your YouTube channel, your website, and your Twitter on this podcast.
Oh, please do. Yeah, please do. I have my blog, which I'm always updating, and it's always got something cool. I'm about to write a story about. We did a show on the music of Santana on QVC, and it led to me knowing the great man himself. And he wasn't on the show, but it just through a whole series of things, and I'm writing that. So that'll be the next thing I put on my blog. My blog's got, I think there's like 110 or so different things on my blog, and it's real simple. It's stevebryantblog.com.
Oh yeah, I think
my name, Steve Bryant.
Yeah, that's the link on your Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah, the link. Yeah, the link to your blog's on your Twitter. So so I'm going to link your YouTube channel, your website, and your Twitter and your blog.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, S. Anthony. Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, did I not tell you this was the Dos Equis man? Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate you being on the show. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you asking me. Thank you, S. Anthony. And remember, stay thirsty, my friend.
All right, folks, we've done another show. I loved being there. Steve loved being there. Did you love being there? You did? Great. I thought so, because I only bring you the best stuff. Much love to everybody who's listening. I appreciate all the new listeners. I appreciate all the people coming from the other podcasts. And thank you for telling your friends, because that's the only way I'm going to see spikes in listenership that I've been seeing. You've been telling your friends. Keep doing that. New people, please do that too. Much love to you all. I appreciate every last one of you. Much love to you, and I will see you again next time. Take care.